Hi everyone, it's Paul here, wanting to proudly show you EffectivePrice version 8. I've firstly got to say a massive thank you to all of those people who have been instrumental in providing input into this latest version. Let's however start at the very beginning regarding EffectivePrice. But during the course of the webinar I will highlight the changes which have now been incorporated within this latest version. The EffectivePrice software takes away the inconsistency out of pricing for accountancy services. There's clear transparency in the pricing process, which in turn strengthens the relationship between you, the accountant, and the client, and therefore helps with client retention. I suspect we've all done it, where we have over-delivered and undercharged for the services we have carried out. EffectivePrice prevents that from happening, unless of course you want it to happen, as it clearly sets out the agreed fees and what services will be provided in respect of them. EffectivePrice enables you to provide fully bespoke quotes tailored to each client, reflecting multiple services within the one quote and the one service agreement. It follows a logical path and is easy to use and is very much a client-facing piece of software. EffectivePrice enables the client to actively choose the type and level of services which are right for them. Because the client is involved in the fee generating and decision making process, they can appreciate the transparency of it all, and that in turn will speed up the buying process and instill the client loyalty. There's significant flexibility and versatility within the software itself, which enables you to easily make EffectivePrice fit around your business and the way you want to use it. As you would expect, all the details are fully encrypted, stored securely, and it is GDPR compliant. Okay, let's log into EffectivePrice. I'll now set up a client, Ben Garrity. The first thing to notice when setting up a client is that you can now put a client reference in. Plus you can stipulate when the quote has been passed to the client and when it has been agreed by them. You can sort your clients out in any order, be it client reference, date the quote was passed to the client, the date it was agreed, etc., as well as searching by team member or by client name. There's also a new proposal reference point, which carries through to any invoices raised and helps provide an audit link between the invoices raised and the fee proposals raised. You'll also note the two squares by the side of Ben's name. Under version 8, the software allows you to create duplicate fee proposal files by clicking on that icon. Perhaps using this function either as a roll forward to say the 2026 or 2027 year, or if you'd like to quote for similar services again. I'm an advocate personally of a top-down pricing, effectively showing client first the quality of the service they receive at premium level. This historically has happened automatically when setting up a quote for a client within EffectivePrice. However, some EffectivePrice members have wanted to be able to choose at which level they open up the pricing discussion at, and want the facility to vary it based upon their own preference and their perception of a particular client. So for example, they may take the view that Ben is a small client and want to open up the pricing point at Essential or Bronze or whatever you like to call it from the very beginning. Under EffectivePrice version 8 they can do that now. So when you open up the pricing, it opens up at the Essential or Bronze level, as opposed to perhaps opening up at the premium level. And you can either do this when setting up a new client or when putting together a revised quote. But for me, I want to open up at the premium level. However, this is not everybody's cup of tea, in which case you can hide this overall level of service by going into settings. I can do this either by clicking on my name at the top of the web page, or I can go into Ben Garrity's pricing screen and click on settings. Then by going into general settings, choose whether to hide this option from view or not. Now that I've taken you into settings, you may want to use this opportunity to tweak things as you see fit, either for that particular client or clients in general. What you see here is the control panel, which you can leave as it is, or adapt to suit your business or adapt per client. It is up to you. Firstly, my account will show you what modules you have signed up for. Other than the core module, you can choose which module or modules you wish to subscribe for. You can also invite team members you want to be able to use EffectivePrice. Going back into general settings, you can input your business details and upload your logo. This will appear on a variety of documents such as the pricing brochure, the summary schedule and the price agreements, for example. Here you can decide on the payment plan and whether to show the fee net or gross. Likewise, if unlike me you haven't subscribed for all the pricing modules, you can hide those options from your client's view simply by putting a tick in the relevant boxes. Also, if I don't want Ben to see particular service options which are in one of the modules I have subscribed for, perhaps because my firm doesn't offer that service or it's not appropriate for that particular client, then again I can tick that relevant box and remove it from sight. As you can see here in the case of Ben Garrity, I've hidden the bookkeeping service from him. Back within general settings, I can produce all the documentation such as the price agreement, pricing brochure, summary schedules, etc. in either PDF format or Word format. The latter, of course, enabling me to make amendments where I see fit. I can choose within the price proposal and the price agreement whether to show the fee quote broken down into net, VAT and gross figures or simply one gross amount. And equally whether to break that figure down into each of the services I'm quoting for or show it as one figure for all the services combined. On the left hand side you can now see the various services we can price for, 16 categories in all, ranging from personal tax returns at the top to audit at the bottom. Each category has its own default pricing process, broken down into logical elements. You can either run with the default pricing or amend the pricing to suit yourself. Or if you want, you can call up the pricing structure set up for another client you may have quoted for in the past and use that instead. Perhaps that client is operating in the same sector as this particular client or prospect. The choice is yours. Where accounts are involved, we have pricing based upon the quality of the record keeping. We provide both a Word and PDF version of the accounting rating system, which you may want to share with your client. One way this can be accessed is by clicking on the support button, which will take you to the relevant page to access the document. Obviously the Word version can be adapted to the way you want it to read, if that is what you decide. I will show you later on where else you can access this document within the software. This support webpage also provides training videos covering a variety of issues such as examples of how we arrive at the price quoted using the default pricing as a guide. Obviously, making tax digital for sole traders and property landlords will be a major focus over the next few years, and therefore pricing not only on an ongoing basis but also for the transitional year where you may be completing the previous year's tax return under the old system, whilst dealing with the in-year MTD submissions becomes of paramount importance. EffectivePrice enables you to price for both tax returns and MTD and has the flexibility to decide what element of the MTD process you're going to price for. For example, the client may decide to do the quarterly submissions themselves or appoint a bookkeeper as a supporting agent to carry out this process. EffectivePrice caters for all of this, either through settings or within the client section itself. You'll no doubt have spotted the section entitled Optional Extras, which you can offer to clients which are outside the service level they have settled for. You can hide some or all of the optional extras if you so wish. As we scroll down in this section, you'll note that there are 20 other optional extra user-defined fields. These are for any additional services you might want to offer and price for, which are not reflected within our software. It does not even have to be tax related. You could put some wording in, which will then appear within the price agreement and summaries, if the client buys into it, as well as also finding its way into the pricing brochure. In version 8, as requested by some members, there's now an option to either include automatic enrolment within the general payroll quote, or quote for it separately. If quoting separately, you can also consider the setup of auto-enrolment. The pricing multiples for billing auto-enrolment separately are included at the bottom of the payroll tab in settings. I now come to the module we call Amend and Edit. Firstly, within the Amend and Edit general setting, EffectivePrice provides 3 price points for each service being offered. For our default position, we'll call them Essential, Full and Premium. However, we know some of our EffectivePrice members want to call these levels of service something different, perhaps Gold, Silver and Bronze for example. Within Amend and Edit, you can make that change. Some EffectivePrice members only want to offer 1 or 2 price points. either across the board or in respect of a particular service. EffectivePrice enables you to do just that if you want to. Within this amend and edit function, you can add extra standard tax planning templates and service text as well if you want to. I showed earlier in this talk how you can choose between creating a PDF or Word version of various documentation you want to send out to clients and prospect. In Word format, you can adjust these documents accordingly on each occasion. However, if you don't want to change the wording each and every time, but want your own standardised wording and style in various documents on a consistent basis, then you can do this within the Amend and Edit module. It allows you to amend wording and formatting of the text in all our default documents, such as the price agreement, the pricing brochure and the service summaries. You can use our default terms of business or amend it and then reload it. Or you can upload your very own terms of business if you prefer over hours. In the latter case, we even provide details of some of the common fields which you may want to use in your terms of business document prior to uploading it. Don't worry if you change your mind, simply undo what you've done. Within each service offering, you can decide which pricing point you want to allocate each element of that service to fall into. You don't have to follow our default position. But if you want to revert back to it, simply click here and the default position can be restored. Likewise, with the additional optional extras attached to that particular category, you can decide to leave them as they are within optional extras, or you can include them within the service level bundle itself. Hide them if you feel uncomfortable rolling that offering out to your client. If you create your own versions of various documents, you can then decide whether you want to just run with your version or be able to opt for either that one or our default version. You can do a quick download of the pricing brochure and choose either the default version or your own if you've done one, and choose which elements of the pricing brochure you want to send to the client. So for my prospective client Ben Garrity, I might decide to tailor the brochure to cover personal tax returns, accounts, VAT, possibly payroll and MTD. Again, I could either send him out my version of the brochure or the default version. Of course, this is all what you can see and can control behind the scenes in respect of EffectivePrice. The client does not see any of that. If we go front of house and revisit the example I've set up, i.e. Ben Garrity, he is self-employed and a property landlord. I have decided to let him see all the service options, and at present I have set it up for instalment payments over 10 months, and I have called the 3 levels gold, silver and bronze. I'm going to show the net fee on the screen. I price up for the tax return. Ben, having already seen the pricing brochure I sent him, chooses the silver option. You can see the net fee per instalment over the 10-month period here on the right hand side. You can also see 2 dots within the tax return box, which will help as a quick reminder that the client has chosen the second pricing point, which I have branded in this case the silver option. We can then look at the fee for the self-employed accounts. You'll note there's a question mark by the heading Accounting System. By simply clicking on the question mark, it will be another way to bring up the accounting rating system, which you could use within the body of the meeting with the client if necessary, perhaps as a discussion point. As Ben has chosen the bronze option, only 1 dot appears in that box. That's also for VAT returns, and Ben would like to, within optional extras, go for a pension review. Don't forget, as I said earlier, you can add in your own optional extras or hide some if that's what you wish to do. I'm also going to price for Making Tax Digital, as Ben will need to come on board from April 26. He'll be submitting his own quarterly submissions, but wants us to submit the finalisation statement, and he opts again for the silver service. As you can see, the pricing figure changes as we make the service choices in line with the client's wishes. Some of those accountants who use EffectivePrice software also use other reporting software we call BizReview and RemReview. BizReview looks at the tax implications for sole traders and partnerships to see if it's beneficial to incorporate or take on board a partner or additional partners. If at a later date we carried out a BizReview on Ben Garrity and he wants to go down, let's say, the incorporation route or take a partner on board, we can go into tax planning and link EffectivePrice and BizReview and sync the relevant BizReview details into EffectivePrice. I will ignore it on this particular occasion. RemReview is a reporting piece of software which looks at established companies and how best to extract monies out of the company, factoring in the bespoke needs of either shareholders, director shareholders and employees. There is a similar link between RemReview and EffectivePrice as there is with BizReview. As regards both RemReview and BizReview, EffectivePrice version 8 includes the full text for each of the 3 levels of service linked to those pieces of software, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But in Ben Garrity's case, RemReview is not relevant, as he is neither director nor company shareholder. The tax planning option can of course be used without the necessity to sign up for either BizReview or RemReview as well, but it's something some EffectivePrice members have asked for, and therefore version 8 now delivers that for those interested members. Heading into the proposal summary, there's another opportunity to change the instalment payment plan. Based upon the options I've shown you in the settings, or I can customise it even further if I wanted to at this stage. Each time that feeds into the field on the right hand side. However, in this case I'm going to revert back to my predefined plan, i.e. payment over 10 months. Some of our EffectivePrice members want to be able to provide a discretionary discount to the fees if they think it's appropriate to do so. In EffectivePrice you can do this. Simply click on the payment per instalment figure and enter the description of the discount, plus decide on the level of the discount and whether that is against each instalment or the total fee. You save that and it changes the monthly instalment payment figure. Ben may decide he doesn't want his personal tax return doing, as he'll take on that responsibility himself. If that was the case, you can simply untick the appropriate box and the figures change again. Within the latest version of EffectivePrice, I can take the client into the comparison screen to look at what the cost would be if he went for a higher or lower service level, whilst also flagging up a quick synopsis of the differences in those service levels. If Mr. Garrity wanted to say upgrade following the comparison review, we can simply easily do so with a press of a button. I can download or email a variety of documents for Ben. I had amended and set up some of my own document versions, but I also chose to retain the default versions as well. So in my case, I could decide which one to send to the client, my version or the default version. Based upon the level of service picked by Ben, the service summary schedules will detail what we'll do within that service level, but will also point out what we're not doing. This clearly defines the parameters for both parties. It will help us not to undercharge and over-deliver unless we want to. The client can also see what they're missing out on and may decide to upgrade to a higher level of service or choose additional optional extras. The price agreement breaks down the fees and stipulates mine and Ben's responsibility in fulfilling that agreement, again setting the parameters. I also reiterate, you can change any wording you don't like in these documents. Our final module, which has been added to the latest version, is for those EffectivePrice members who use either Xero or QuickBooks, as you now have the option to link to them to raise one-off or recurring invoices based upon the EffectivePrice quote, simply at a push of a button. So what is the cost of all of this? If you became a full or premium proactive tax member, you pay nothing for this resource. It is part of your membership option, along with a whole range of other resources. However, you don't have to become a proactive tax member to access EffectivePrice. You can simply subscribe for it. The core module is £28.50 plus VAT per month, and each of the additional modules are only an extra £5 plus VAT per month. Other than the core module, you can pick and choose which other modules you want. There is absolutely no tie-in period. You can have as many team members using it as you wish for no extra charge. You can do as many proposals as you like for no extra charge. It is fully flexible and can be adapted to suit your practice and client and prospect base, both in terms of how you want to price and secondly, how you want to present it to your clients and prospects. If you want to offer additional services specific to you, then you can add those into the software as well. If you'd like to subscribe for EffectivePrice, then go on to the EffectivePrice website, www.effectiveprice.co.uk. Click on subscribe to EffectivePrice, then fill in your business details, select the modules you want to subscribe for, and complete the Go Cardless details. EffectivePrice version 8, I am proud to say, is less of a testimony to us at Proactive Tax, but more of a compliment to those EffectivePrice members who are already successfully using it within their practice. If you would like to find out more about Proactive Tax itself, then please do not hesitate to contact me, either by email at paul.flynn@proactivetax.co.uk or call me on 01246 488 200 or book a conference call through my online diary, which you can find at www.boostyourtax.co.uk. Thanks again for listening to this webinar. I do hope you found it of some value. Take care and keep safe.